Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a stream sending end of season stream. Once again, thank you very much for joining in on this particular season that we have just ended. It was quite a fun ride. We have been playing somewhat difficult games. Difficult because we're not very used to them either. But one of them was very difficult because of its difficulty spike, and one of them was very difficult because of not knowing much about the setup and because of other reasons that I'm about to elaborate. So the first game that we went on to play was Rockman and Forte. What was the name again? I can't believe I forgot it for this particular moment. Rockman and Forte Mirai Kara no Shousensha. Yeah, that was it. Rockman and Forte Mirai Kara no Shousensha. I never got around to finding out how to say the particle and in Japanese. So it has an ampersand stating for and, but I honestly have no idea how to actually pronounce that in Japanese. So let's go with Rockman and Forte Mirai Kara no Shousensha. Actually, I never got around to finding out what Mirai Kara no Shousensha is either. Well, we'll leave it for later because many of these games, if not all, we are planning to eventually play back again, not even by decision but by randomization. So it goes to show that we don't know when that may happen, but we have the intention to play them nonetheless. So the game was really somewhat difficult. We use a lot of hacking tools. Well, not a lot, but we went with slow motion, which may be slightly less exciting for some of our viewers, yet hopefully still entertaining enough to be watched, or at the very least left on the background being played as you do other things, just to see some of the stuff, because the game is really fun. I actually had fun playing it, even though I had to go on a very considerably easy mode, because you can tell the difference between it being when it goes at normal speed and when it goes slow motion. We actually weren't able to progress beyond the first level, beyond the first boss, on normal speed, and yet managed to do quite more on slow motion. We went around to have a save state, so it becomes easier to continue playing at a later date. So that's good news. That's good. The game doesn't look all that long, but I'm not even sure if Mega Man or Rockman, as it is known, games are that lengthy. And yet we managed to play quite a lot, and we're not even close to being halfway there. And it has a lot of purchasable items, so I guess that should promote the replayability, regardless of some of the puzzles, in my opinion, being very determinative. So you either do it one way or you're not able to do it, and that at times is a little deterring. Nevertheless, since the main character has a health bar, it still gives a lot of replayability value if you take the route of deciding when to shoot and when not to shoot. So some enemies can potentially be much more difficult to overcome obstacle, and well, even though we have been going through a more or less pacifist route, we also have been using the break cheat and rewinding quite often. So there's a lot to be played still. So I'm really hoping that we go back into the game at a future date, because it is very impactful in the sense that it is done for a portable console, and not the Game Boy. It's actually done for the WonderSwan, which is a Bandai Namco console. Also very interesting and very fun thing to do, because I had all those games there, all the WonderSwan and WonderSwan Color games. And I feel that, well, I didn't know anything about the WonderSwan until I started playing the games in that particular way, or finding ROMs on Pirate Bay. So I was surprised, and it would have been nice to know it before. Well, not well. It wasn't something that would have changed my life, I guess, but it would have been interesting if I had found them when I was on the hype, when they were more hype, right? So right now we're going at them with a more retro mentality, which is different than the one that you have when something is brand new or just released, right? Not to say that it should be taken lightly, because it's not fashionable or the newest thing yet. I guess it's more or less impossible to still have the same kind of hype. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. It may just be an opinion, I guess. Yet the power of the social machinery or the social contraptions, I feel it's or can potentially provide for a different, more what's the term I'm looking for when you're waiting for something, when you're in expectancy of something, right? It's called hype, but I think there may be other words for it. Well, anyways, the other game we played was Disney Sports Football, another very interesting entry in our repertoire, because as I mentioned, it was the first time I was playing football, or American football as it is known in places outside of America, of course. And it was a really interesting sport because I only watched it like once, maybe in a couple of movies, and once actually live, and it wasn't something that I knew much about or even anything at all, and I found it to be a really interesting sport. Well, that's obvious, because otherwise it wouldn't be that widespread, I guess. Or maybe it would, but I can see the charm to it now. Well, the game was a little difficult at first for some reasons I'm still not understanding. I could only lose games, and after a while it started becoming a little too easy, or like I had to go through another route of difficulty to be able to keep the score even. Otherwise I feel if it's left unattended, it gives the player somewhat of an advantage. Also depends on the team, but I feel that I felt it a little more difficult in the beginning, and I'm not quite sure if it was just because I started to actually learn how to play the game. We use a lot of rewind and a lot of slow motion in it, so it wasn't all that easy from the beginning, but also I felt that the slow motion gave it a more cinematographic aspect and a more time to enjoy the place, because otherwise they could end up being like too fast, be it because of the game itself, how it is, or be it because I wasn't that good enough in the end anyways to be able to prolong the action, right, I guess. But hopefully it was still enjoyable. Like I mentioned, I tried to give it a lot of variety and play a lot of like all of the maps and all of the characters, try to shuffle them, never repeating the same characters in a row, trying as much as possible to do that. So I think a lot of it can be seen. I even try not to do the same strategy or play twice in a row. It happens a couple of times, I think, but I try to keep the game very varied. I try not to use any mechanics that I felt could potentially give me an advantage, but rather try to use my abilities to keep the game as balanced as possible, which is something the philosophy, right? I guess I'm repeating myself over here, but it's the philosophy being kept throughout the channel, and hopefully it goes to show, because I feel it is more entertaining, more enjoyable, and the enemy teams are able to perform way better if you give them some room, I believe, a chance. Well, anyways, like I mentioned, and I may be saying the same thing over and over. Once again, I want to welcome everybody to the beginning of a new year. We are getting closer into a lunar new year that is about to happen really soon too. And well, here in the channel it's going quite hectic in terms of hurrying up because League of Legends is soon to become, hopefully soon to have like wonderful prizes because of Lunar New Year. So it is important that we get as many seasons, well, we have one pending hopefully, and well, that it be enjoyable for all of our audiences as well. So with these two new games, I hope that many interesting things have been showcased and that the content as usual has been enjoyable. So without further ado, for the time being, I will be leaving you, hoping to see you at a later date in our future content. It will be until a later moment, then have a very wonderful time, and once again thank you everybody for all of the support being provided. It will be then until later. Bye now.